right. I'm getting set up here. I am waiting for my guest Kay to join the stream. Getting some charts set up and reflecting back over the day and some of the other eclipses and things that have happened already. How things went for me and for other people. All right. Greetings, Brittany. How are you? How did the eclipse go for you? Okay. All right. Add K in here. There we go. There
All
she
right.
is.
We are live
Yes.
on this day of the eclipse on April the 8th.
Yes.
This legendary historical day where life is no longer going to be the same.
Nope. Nope. And we've been prepping to do this for what? Over a year? Almost a year and a half?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
But everything is in divine time.
It is. Definitely is.
So, Daniel is in North Carolina. I am here in Phuket, Thailand. And we're making it work, even though we're 11 hours, difference in time.
Oh, yeah. Very different perspectives. Very different
Yes.
perspectives. Saturn,
Very different,
Saturn
but
10th
yet
house
still
line
the
versus
same.
4th house moon lines. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna do a live stream to talk about astrocartography and dig into that. That's gonna be interesting. Yep. Yep, we're definitely going to get into that because digging into astrocartography and how the energies hit you when you go to different locations in the world is a whole other ball game. It's a whole other ball game.
Definitely.
So I'm just going to share this link around. Let's see if we can get some Soul Fam in on this. And I trust that whoever is meant to find this video will find it in divine time.
For sure. Yep.
If we get to one soul and we help one soul, then our mission is complete.
All right, let me do. Okay. Let me see if I can't.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this live stream today, tomorrow, in the coming days or weeks, give us a minute or two, and we're gonna get this party started. Right now, we're just gonna share around some links and tell everybody that we're here and we're live, So, un moment. Either way, Daniel and I are just going to have some fun. We're going to channel energies. We're going to let you guys hear what we got to say, whatever comes to us. We have some things planned out, some things are not. When him and I connect, we have a very special connection with each other, and we end up downloading a whole lot of interesting stuff. So,
yeah, we do.
May the portals open up.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So just for the rest of you to know, if you're curious, Here in Phuket, Thailand, it is 9:20 a.m. Daniel in North Carolina in the Eastern time zone, they are, correct me if I'm wrong, 10:20
That's
p.m.
correct.
So because they do daylight savings time nonsense, we should be exactly 12 hours difference, but now we're 11.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I for those folks that don't know, I have a Facebook group called the Spiritual Solarium. And that's where I share almost all of my North Node astrology posts. I put them on North Node on Facebook, and then I share them in the Solarium. And anything that I put on YouTube, I also put up on North Node, and then it gets shared into my group that me and a couple other spiritually minded folks curate and moderate. And it's open for members to post in, and there are other social media platforms that don't play so well with Facebook, so that stuff doesn't get posted there. But I do have links in all of my YouTube videos that link back to other things. And from my understanding, Facebook and YouTube do not like you saying the name of that tree of links for some reason, even though everybody uses it. So that information's there. Okay, how can people get a hold of you? And I suspect we'll probably do this at the end of the stream as well. But
I will be relaunching my podcast in the coming weeks and months once I return back to Canada. But if people want to find me, they can go to Khadijah Barali. Also, I'll put a link. I'll put a link in this live stream to my profile if they want to follow. Later on, I will be relaunching my site, my whole entire brand, jewelry line, lots of cool stuff coming for the future. So stay tuned.
all right. Okay. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's. True.
Okay, so
So
I got the link on my wall, so whoever's gonna find this will find it. I'm sure people in the Eastern time zone some are getting tucked into bed at this point or winding down their day. So if they don't see it today, perhaps they'll see it tomorrow.
right. All right. All right. I have pinned the group that I post into in the chat. So anyone that wants to check that out, that's pinned. We'll handle some other things too. Close that. Right.
So just to fill in the gaps here, my background with astrology. So just to dig into that quickly before we dig into today's info session on this new moon solar eclipse. So my journey with astrology started when I was 13 years old, and I was very curious about reality. I was very curious about the mysterious energies that I sensed that were around me and affecting people, and I didn't understand what the heck was going on because religion cannot explain these phenomena. They're not designed for that.
Yep.
They're designed for something
Mm-hmm.
else. and it's brainwashing. Anyways, and I'm not saying that there's not anything good, but I'm just saying. So I was recognizing patterns in reality with different zodiac signs, and I was saying to myself, something else is going on here. Like this, someone's got to explain this to me. And when I was age 13 in grade 8, my school finally got internet, and I was able to start, searching things online. And I came across this astrologer, Susan Miller, who is a really world-renowned astrologer from New York in the United States. And she had a blog. So I started reading her blog way back in the day, and just reading the reports for different zodiac signs, and I started to see patterns. I started to see that some of her predictions were coming to pass, and things that people were feeling were also being explained by her in her blog, and I found it to be really fascinating and interesting. So every month I was reading her blog whenever I was able to access the internet in my school, and that's when my curiosity for astrology started. So every astrologer has their story of how the universe nudges them onto the path. And that was my nudge, and I didn't ignore it. I didn't take it seriously for a long time because this society that we're currently in, they don't really support esoteric knowledge because of the control systems of the dark people that are within religious institutions. But astrology is the most oldest tradition on this planet. It goes back more than 5,000 years before all these monotheistic religions. So it's a big thing. It's a big deal. It's not bullshit. This is very solid information.
Yeah. The medical profession has its origins in astrology, as well as
exactly.
It could be said that astrology could have been the first science itself.
Yes.
Noticing world patterns.
Astronomy. Yes, astronomy was definitely birthed out of astrology, even though people don't want to admit it. Just because you mentioned, health and astrology, I'm going to bring up that quote from Hippocrates and astrology because it's interesting how so many institutions in our modern age is basically created from old Greco-Roman institutions and philosophies, and yet we have one of the main philosophers saying like something really profound about astrology.
Yes.
So let me get that quote. I think I'm almost there. Here we go. So here's part of the quote for Hippocrates and astrology. So a physician without knowledge of astrology has no right to call himself a physician. So there you go. Straight from Hippocrates himself.
Yep, for sure. And through the study of any one, I'll say, discipline, you always end up in other places. You never expect to end up where you are. One of my favorite applications for that is there is a gentleman, and I doubt he'll ever find his way back here, on YouTube, called ClickSpring, and he is creating a 1-to-1 size replica of the Antikythera device, which was an astrological and an astronomical clock, and it was a calendar as well. They found that around the turn of the 1900s, and it was 60, 70 years before they had good x-rays of that device, of layers. At first, they didn't even know what it was, and they thought it might have been a clock or some sort of navigational device because of the way certain glyphs and certain things were labeled on it in certain gears. But then when they started digging deeper, they realized that there were eclipse cycles in the gear mechanisms. And there was an ancient Greek calendar system with, rotatable hands, so you could whenever you got this device, you could set it for what day and what time, for whatever day and what time it was, and then go through. And once you reaches the end, you pick the arms up, you spin them around, you put them back in, and you just keep on going. So one of the oldest devices that we have found on the Earth is an astrological clock. So this gentleman was recreating it. He has discovered that in antiquity they had to have had lathes, the ability to make things flat, the ability to make things 90 degrees, high level maths in order to figure out eclipse cycles of the moon. And he has been studying leatherworking as well as ancient Greek and the calendars they used. And I think there were festival calendars on that as well. So he has gotten into many more things than just machining and mathematics than he thought he would. And again, all of it goes back to astrology. Now that device would have been a very, very expensive device to create. They're not exactly sure, but due to the high level maths that were involved in it, they are definitely pointing to Archimedes because of the time period and even the region. So there could have been a number of high level craftsmen creating them, but there probably would not have been many. So, and once you get into, if you're a woodworker, or if you like to run, or whatever it is you're doing, if you go hard enough into that, you will find yourself in other places, and many things, many disciplines will lead back to astrology, many of them.
Yep. Like it's an incredible thing, and I like how we're prefacing the whole conversation by going into the history of astrology and the significance, because this is something that's been buried in our current civilization,
Yes.
and obviously by design. Because if we go back to the ancient Vedic civilization, in the Indus Valley civilization, they were practicing Vedic astrology thousands of years before Christ was even born, before even Buddha was born. And unfortunately, like, as civilization progressed, and then now we're going to be getting into yuga cycles and different ages. But like, according to Drunvalo Melchizedek, if some of you know who that guy is, a lot of you know who he is. He's an amazing human being who has a lot of wisdom and knowledge. The cycle of precession that controls the ages is divided into two parts. One is a 12,000 year cycle. The other is a 12,000 year cycle. And half is dominated by patriarchal masculine energy, and the other half is dominated by matriarchal energy. So after the fall of Atlantis, and yes, for people watching this, Atlantis is real. That civilization was absolutely real. They fell during the end of the Virgo age, as we were going into Leo. And we're gonna have to go back into that a little bit as we dig deeper into this live stream. I talked about that in my long live stream I did in October, because there's a lot of connecting dots that go back to that period of time. We're gonna get into that. But anyway, so half the cycle is masculine, half the cycle is feminine. We fell, and one is a descending cycle of consciousness. The other half is an ascending cycle of consciousness. So in the New Age community, when they talk about ascension, it's not about exiting 3D and going into 5D. I'm sorry, guys. We got to poke a hole in that bullshit. There's a lot of woo-woo fluffy crap in the spiritual community. They want to just exit the third density reality. We did not sign up to come here and just exit third density reality. We came down here to be masters of this third density reality.
Yes.
So our ancestors, when they discovered that this cycle was an ascending cycle of consciousness, it was about humanity remembering their cosmic origins, humanity remembering their connection to the universe, and growing that deeper relationship with the universe. So in that ascending age, is split up into different parts. There's the bottom part of it is the Kali Yuga age, which lasts for a long time, which is when there's more wars and killing and all these kinds of things. Then it progresses into the Dwapara Yuga age, and then I forgot what the next one is. I think it's Treta, and then Satya. So essentially right now, according to Sri Yukteswar, we are in the Dwapara Yuga age. So within this age, it's said by these old sages and wise people that mankind starts to rediscover the atom, science. They're trying to dig deep into the inner workings of this current reality. So, and that's what we've seen the last 100 years, is scientists really trying to understand the workings of things. So there you go. So Daniel has it up on the screen. The great year, 12,000 years descending and 12,000 years ascending. So we've got the Treta Yuga, which connects the silver age, and I think the Dwapara Yuga connects to the Bronze Age, and then the Satya Yuga is the Golden Age.
Yep.
So we are moving back towards this high level of consciousness now, which is why we have this massive awakening going on the planet. And we're going to dig into that because that's also connected to Neptune cycles that started back in 2010, 2011.
Yep.
But again, this has been this energy, this higher consciousness energy has been trickling into the collective since the turn of the century, since like late 18th century. Yes. We had Nikola Tesla, Roland Raymond Reich, Wilhelm Reich, Helena Blavatsky of the Theosophical Society, Jiddu Krishnamurti. Oh my God, I can't even list all the people. What's the name of the guy that you and I like that talks about manifestation? I know. You're like, we talk about so many people.
Right. Oh my goodness.
I can't remember his name. Oh my God, there's so many people in that period of time between the 1860s or something and 1950s. A whole cycle of souls were channeling some crazy energy, crazy inventions, really trying to push civilization forward. And some of that got kiboshed a little bit because our collective wasn't ready, but they tried. They did a lot of amazing work, and some of that work is going to reemerge in this period of time.
Yes.
But anyways, so there's been different cycles of souls that have been coming through the last period to help push civilization forward. And all of that is by divine design because we're meant to get to a certain level. So in this period of time, we're ascending in consciousness. We're starting to remember our connection to the universe. And along with that process, we have to unplug from this matrix reality, undo the programming they put into us, the toxic programs they put into us, delete them, cleanse them, purge them out, and we're going to be like fresh, brand new people starting again, like Aries.
Yes.
So now, perfect segue to go into the Aries energy.
Yes.
Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the baby. It's the child. And so we're going to be born again. And it's kind of funny because, like, it's kind of like the whole Christian born again thing.
Yep.
We're gonna be born again as new people after coming through these dark ages of energy and taking on so much trauma and so many different dark experiences. So we're gonna be cleansing all these things out of our subconscious and out of the collective, and we're gonna start again and start fresh and build something different. So what is this we're looking at on the screen?
This is the sign and rulership and house chart. I was just kind of zooming in here on Aries because you were talking about starting over, and we do have that, definitely have that feel because the sun is currently in Aries. We have Mercury in Aries. We have Chiron in Aries. Mercury is retrograde, and the ruler of Aries is in Pisces, and he's coming close to Saturn, but sometimes to go forward, you have to go backwards a little bit. You have to unwind things, and we are definitely in an unwinding. But you might have to go back a little bit to go forward, but we are moving forward. We're always going forward. You're never.
The universe is in constant motion. Yep. Yeah, the universe is in constant motion, constant change, and one thing that I really love about astrology that brings me comfort in this great age of chaos is that there is some kind of divine plan here. as we get deeper into the hero's journey, the story that's unfolding within the collective, there's clearly a narrative here. There's clearly like a set direction that something is trying to, push us along, and it's all about evolution of consciousness in the end. And so everything we're experiencing is to help our consciousness evolve so we can become the gods and the goddesses that we were designed to be on this planet. So I got tons of notes here of things to dig in, things that I channeled over the past few weeks, because Daniel and I, we've been talking about this since October.
Oh yes, for sure.
Of 2023. So there was an eclipse in October. I can't remember the date. I think it was the 13th or the 14th of 2023.
It was the 14th. I've got that pulled up here. Awesome. We can look at the chart.
Let's pull that up. Let's pull that up, because that was a very significant eclipse. That kind of this sparked off the beginning of this cycle. So I felt major shifts in my body with this eclipse, with that eclipse in October. The way I looked at relationships, the way I looked at myself. I was gaining a lot of clarity on my blockages with relationships and where I was going wrong, because I'm a 1986 baby, and a lot of us had South Node in Libra. Yep. So a lot of us were really activated with energy in that period of time, having to relearn how to be more solid in ourselves in relationships with others. So we stopped self-sacrificing and people-pleasing and giving away our energy to toxic people that don't deserve it.
Yes, that eclipse in October, Mercury was closing to be conjunct with the sun and the moon during that, and it was square Pluto and Capricorn. So there was a very cardinal energy there with Libra and Capricorn, and especially with Pluto there to transform that. With Mercury ruling the midheaven of that, actually the time that I picked, 1150, was the cross point in the United States around San Antonio, Texas. So it was like the midpoint of that eclipse, like the shortest direct overhead of that, with Mercury ruling Gemini and Virgo being the 10th house, high noon, there, 10 minutes to noon. It was like, how can we make it work? How can we make these new relationships work? How can we make this new balance work? Because and it has to transform. We have to transform this, but we can do the work we can't just talk about it anymore. We can't just speak. Speaking might create a charter. It might create a little bit of balance, but that chart starts at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. You need some wisdom. You're going to have to go towards wisdom to be able to decode that, to be able to pull that up and through and activate that. But it doesn't start. You have to do the work. Virgo was about work. It's about service. And that's exactly what that eclipse was about in October.
Mm-hmm. And then, during that cycle, we had Mercury retrograde in Virgo, and we also had Venus retrograde in Leo before that.
Oh, man.
So there's been this ongoing conversation for a while, and Daniel and I, we're going to dig into a lot of this in future podcasts, because we're going to go all the way back to 2020 or maybe even 2018, 2019, and push the timeline forward back to here, because there's been a massive conversation here, an overarching story that I think a lot of people are missing, and we're gonna dig into that in this live stream. But yeah, so we had Venus retrograde in that season. Venus is the ruler of Libra. We had the eclipse in Libra, and like what he was saying, Mercury was in Virgo. So it was like, how are we dealing with love? What's going to make us feel really good with love? Like, what kind of relationships do we need to feel really good? And with Mercury and Virgo, it's like, how are we going to make that work? And it was also purifying the way you go about thinking about it and how you're going about fixing it or building it. So there was a massive conversation going on with all that stuff because the universe is trying to get us to understand how to have healthy relationships, because this is something
Right.
that is a big problem on our planet. It doesn't matter what culture. I've
Right.
traveled now through East Asia, and the patterns continue. It's not just a problem in North America. It's everywhere. It's
Yes.
everywhere. So our collective is being encouraged by the universe right now to take a closer look, at our relationships, put them underneath a microscope, and understand what the patterns are. What does that mean?
Right.
Because whatever we're creating is a reflection of our own inner world.
Right.
So it's also making us look at ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's the I am, the Aries I am versus other, the
Yeah.
Libra.
And you were talking about the cycles and going back and our reality. One of the things that governs our reality, Saturn, he's the boundary line. He's the boundary of our physical reality. And he's got the rings and he cuts through stuff. Back in that eclipse in October, he was back to 0 degrees of Pisces. He was at nearing the end of his retrograde. He stopped his retrograde on the 3rd of November, so just 2 weeks after that. So we were still, even when that last eclipse, we were still backing up. We were still unwinding things. Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius and exalted in Libra, and also, in most astrologers would say it still rules the 10th house. It doesn't matter whether your long-term stability, whether that's your career or relationships, or whether you're trying to be a good speaker or you're trying to get endurance or whatever, Saturn is still there. He knows that you're trying to stabilize yourself for a long time. And it doesn't have to be just fame, but, and I'm sure you've seen, fame can unwind you, and it has been unwinding. The institutions that we have based our physical reality on have been unwinding. And these eclipses, being a son of America. I mean, I am the United States is a Sag rising. I'm a Sagittarius rising. The United States is a Cancer sun. I'm a Cancer sun. So I definitely feel those energies. Um, I was placed here for a reason. So I can see these patterns, and they reflect inside of me. And I try to ask myself, where am I inside these cycles? What can I do about them? And what is it around me that is revealing them to me through some of these longer cycles? And Saturn is definitely a good thing to look at, especially with these Libra Aries cycles, with Aries being exalted in Capricorn, the sign that Saturn's a general. Aries, Mars is the soldier, and Aries is what he does. And Aries eventually he wants to become a general. He wants to become, you know, that stabilizing force in the world, but he has to be able to dialogue, he has to be able to balance, and he also has to be able to negotiate, and that is what Libra is. And an issue that a lot of spiritual people get into is they want to get into that beautiful Libra energy or that very spacey Pisces energy, and they don't want to go into Saturn, they don't want to go into Aries, they don't want to go into Mars. You have to take action. All right, I am a Cancer, my moon is in Libra. I have a hard time taking action. I'm a Gen Xer. You guys know that a lot of us have a problem taking action. We might be assholes, and we're not trying to be, but taking action is required for balance. You've ever seen a lumberjack roll a log? He has to move. He has to take action. So do we. And the astrology always gives us a glimpse into what direction we need to be taking these actions, whether it's our mind or communication or, getting on a better schedule for ourselves daily, serving ourselves first.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a big I think message with this eclipse too, because it's Mars is conjunct Saturn. We're gonna get into the dynamics of that, but the shadow side of that is Virgo energy. So
Yeah.
we're needing to look at our self care, our daily habits, and balance that out with how we're connecting to the universe and connecting with our cosmic selves. So all that's playing out.
Yep.
There's so much that is quickening right now on the planet, and I've written about that in my posts when I feel like sharing. And since 2020, a lot of us felt this energy that, oh shit, something's about to go down. You know, life is different now, and it wasn't just because they locked us up in our houses, but there's multiple realities playing out here. On one layer, yes, there's the cabal, the shadow government, the assholes, the psychopaths are doing crazy stuff, and then there's the collective consciousness, and then there's the divine plan, and all these things are like, you know, the cogs are turning with these densities, dimensions, these energies all at the same time. And that's why we're being spiritually awoken people, or more spiritually sensitive people, we're aware of these realities, and we can feel the cogs of time and destiny turning every day. We can feel, you know, some kind of universal hand kind of like pushing things along. And right now it's getting hot. Like we're like frogs in a pot being boiled, and shit's about to hit the fan, you know. And the biggest thing with this eclipse is that, you know, obviously we saw a lot of religious people that were really becoming fanatical and evangelical. You know, it's the end of days, Antichrist is coming back, blah 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 blah. Great, you go ahead and you believe that. I'm all for people believing what they want to believe. I'm not going to tell them not to believe in those things. We are astrologers. We do not confine ourselves to those limiting realities. We have expanded our consciousness beyond those constructs of monotheistic religion, and we go beyond those boundaries, because that's the nature of this profession, this game that we're in. So Libra energy, I think we got to dig into the fundamentals of this, and digging into the fundamentals of Aries energy. So Libra energy, it's ruled by Venus. They want beauty. They're artists. They want luxury. They want sweetness. They love sweet food. They in the shadow side have issues with conflict. They want to run away from conflict. They do not want to deal with anything that's heavy and that makes them feel uncomfortable. They will run. They will avoid. They will do whatever they got to do to like wiggle out of those uncomfortable situations. The virtues that Libra has, obviously Daniel talked about it. They're great diplomats. They're great judges. You know, Libra rules the court and law, and you know, lawyers and judges. It rules that area. So Daniel's holding it up. So yeah, Libra also rules the 7th house. So what he's showing there: divorce, lawsuits, life, business, close partnerships, marriage, beginning of contracts, ending of contracts, you know, long-term bonds. So yeah, Libra energy is it's a foundation of our world. It's the foundation of how things work here. Without having healthy relationships when it comes to business, our relationship to our government, our relationship to one another, when that shit breaks down and it's not working right, guess what's going to happen? And guess what's been happening for a long time? It's been crumbling in front of our eyes, and a lot has needed to happen and hasn't happened yet, because there ain't no savior coming to save us. And that's a little, again, stab at freaking religion. We need to be the bridge. We need to bridge the gap between each other and the rest of society, and create that balance. So then we got Aries energy, which in the beginning stages is the baby. It's the newborn. It's the child. They want to go out. They're headstrong. They're stubborn. They want to go out and explore the world. They want to create things, do things. They're very impulsive. They don't think a lot sometimes before they do things. They're very, they can be very erratic in that way. As they mature, they become the hero. They become the savior. They become the knight in shining armor. They want to fight the good fight and protect people. They're very courageous, more than anybody else, which is incredible. So Daniel's holding up the screen there for Aries. So yeah, it's dealing with the I am presence. It's dealing with your identity of who you are. It's ruled by Mars. It's masculine energy. It's our self-assertive energy. So wherever Aries is located in your chart, it's going to be where something is really pushing you to be really assertive in that area, be really strong in that area. So yeah, self-knowledge, how you project your energy out, which is like Mars energy, personality, self-image, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so Aries energy is a very powerful energy. Personally, I have had problems with people that have Aries energy because I find them to be distasteful and brash at times and lack tact, because I'm a Libra South Node person and I like for things to be balanced and diplomatic.
Yep.
But I'm still an Aries North Node. I will lay a smackdown if necessary, but not before trying to create that balance first. So that's the Libra Aries axis of astrology. So this has been active for a long time, starting in that last eclipse cycle in October, and plus the Venus retrograde cycle. So the way I've been seeing it is, yeah, we're relearning how to connect to ourselves with the Aries energy. And then with the Libra energy, we're learning how to recalibrate, refine, redefine our relationships and what we need in our relationships, how we've been giving away our personal power in relationships, and how we need to balance that out. And a lot of us have come into this life giving our power and our energy away to people who don't deserve it.
Yeah.
So when Venus was retrograde in Leo last summer, the retrograde kind of started at the end of July, and it kind of went all the way until like the end of August, I believe. So for those of you who are watching this, if you think back to last summer when Venus was retrograde,
Yep.
she was trying to get you to, and she was squaring Uranus, and then she squared Jupiter. So, I mean, that's a whole thing in itself that could have caused people to overspend, do really erratic, weird stuff. But I think on the higher end, the message from the universe was, what does big love feel like for me? Like, what is this ultimate love? Like, where's the value at? Because Taurus is about value. Like, where's the value at? Like, do these relationships have the values that I possess, like, in myself? Do they reflect that? And then Venus squaring Uranus, it was kind of like, I feel like it was an energy to free people from their old programs with love, and to get them to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And because she's in Leo, it's ruled by its fifth house energy, fun, creative energy, and it's Leo. It's big and loud and proud, So it's like, what do I want to create? What's going to be fun for me? How can I have fun with love? Like, how am I going to have joy with this? Like, what makes me feel good? And I think a lot of people had to think about that because we forgot what love is supposed to feel like. It's not supposed to feel like this daunting, depressing, heart-wrenching thing. And I think it's been like that for a lot of people because they were going into relationships with a false set of values that were misaligning them with what they actually needed and wanted.
Right. Yeah, that Venus retrograde cycle was very difficult for me. With Venus retrograded the same day the Sun moved into Leo. So Venus had been in Leo, and then she stopped, and then she was at the end of Leo, I think 27, 28 degrees. So she had gone almost all the way through, and she was about to go into Virgo, and then she stopped, and then the Sun came in. So it was a very different feel. And with Venus ruling Taurus, and with Uranus there, and that square that eventually happened, there was very powerful shift points. There were very powerful decision points that had to be made. I was having, and with anything Leo, you were talking about creation process. It's like, what are you creating? And with Venus there, like, okay, you're creating through values. What are your values? And Uranus is going, okay, Uranus is all about values, right? In the legends about Uranus, he banished some of his children to the center of the earth because they didn't meet his standards. They were not high enough. So,
Yes.
you know, in Venus being in the king's house in the sun, that's a hot spot. That's she's got the spotlight on her. She likes to flow around, and now the sun's there, and she's backing up, and Uranus is square, and he's in Taurus, and he's in her house, and she's in somebody else's house. It wasn't a comfortable energy. I had to learn to break loose. I had to learn to detach. I had to learn that Aquarius energy, which is opposite of Leo, which is what that rulership was about. There was a square point there. It was like, what side are you going to pick? Are you going to be erratic? Are you going to completely emotionally detach? Are you going to separate from your old value systems? Which is what I had to do. My Mars is in Leo. I was charging in to take care of a problem that wasn't mine. I had a hard. I that August was hard. August was
Yep.
hard, but I made it hard. Nobody did that to me. I charged into a situation. I took control of something that I had no business taking control over. Now, ultimately, I ended up with a kitty, but but
She's a cutie.
but in that process, I had to let go. I'm like, I don't have any more. And I even I was living with an Aquarius, and I went to the Aquarius and I told them, I don't have any more energy for this. I can't. Anything else that goes forward in this thing, and it was about small things. My Venus is in Gemini. It was about small things, and I had to go to them and go, anything else that happens with these small things, I need you to take care of it. And I let it go. I had to. And
Yep, that's that Venus. That's that Venus square Uranus.
yep.
That summer, that was some very serious stuff.
And Venus
Um,
ruling Libra also, I called friends. I
yes.
called friends to help me out. And again, that's also Aquarius. Aquarius is friends. So
Yep.
there was a lot of friend energy. There was a lot of detaching energy, and that Mars had Mars was with the North Node, or the North Node had moved into Aries just a week before that retrograde started. Mars was in Virgo. He was very specific. He wanted to serve, um,
Mm-hmm.
and it was not easy. And with this eclipse that just happened earlier today, there was more of that Martian energy, except it's subdued. It's calmer. He's learned. The general Saturn he's been in the mountain temple of Pisces. He's not in the fight anymore. And the soldier the soldier has gone up the mountain to go, hey boss, what are we doing? What's the plan? And Saturn's like, just have a seat, Junior. Just have a seat, and you'll see the plan. So
Mm-hmm.
action does does need to be taken, but sometimes you just need to sit and let the plan show itself to you.
Yes, I love how you said that, and I think this is the wisdom that Aries people need to take in at this period of time. Sometimes you can't just charge in. Sometimes you can't just act impulsive and just run into that burning building
Right?
or run to that other country or whatever it is. Like sometimes you have to sit still and allow the universe to speak to you and open yourself up, open yourself up to receiving. And again, this is the whole. I love how we're talking about this now because this is the whole dichotomy between the sacred divine masculine and the sacred divine feminine. In order to be more receptive intuitively to downloading the wisdom and the insights the universe wants to get to you, you have to have your feminine online. If
Yes.
you're going to take action to build something and go and do something with confidence, with courage, you got to have your divine masculine online.
Yes, you do.
So the entire collective is balancing out these polarities at this time. And like you and I were talking about before in these last days and weeks, we're lucky that Mars is with Saturn right now in
Yeah.
Pisces. Because we would
Yeah.
not want to have this eclipse with Chiron, North
No.
Node, Sun,
No.
Moon, and like have Mars somewhere else in the zodiac. Because
Right.
for sure, some crazy stuff was going to pop off. But because, like you said, the general Saturn is in Pisces, and the soldier Mars is in Pisces with him. He's like, all right, son, come to the temple, chill out. We're about to freaking connect to God, connect to the universe right now.
Yeah.
We're taking a
Get the
chill pill.
get the get the divine mission, and that's and with
Yes.
Venus ahead, Venus and Aries, and with Mars and Pisces, they are they talk that mutual reception. They both want to be the where the other one is, and those are the rulers of that the polarity of this eclipse. And the eclipse, you know, was was in Aries, but the last one was in Libra, so it was very much opposite energy, and I'm sure you guys have seen the difficulties that the feminine and the masculine have been under. And so that I use those words because everybody has a little piece of that in them. All right. I've been on I've been on a feminine spiritual journey for probably most of my life. And now there's a lot of things in my life showing me, okay, you've got that figured out. Now you have to take action. And I'm having a hard time with it. I'm a very Libran energy kind of person. My moon is in Libra. My sun is in the seventh house. So it's like I have a lot of very balancing negotiator kind of energy around me. And now I have to figure out, okay, where's my power at? Where's my energy? Where do I need to
Yeah.
stand up and be fair instead of just let people do things? Where do I stand up and go, no? And just
Yeah.
no is all
This is
no
the
is a whole
wisdom.
sentence.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
Exactly.
have to be
Full stop.
violence. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It just has to be, no, okay, I'm not, I don't need to be here. I need to go somewhere else. Aries, action, motion, let's go. It's the beginning of the journey. Are you willing to start over? And starting over is not always easy. Oh, I didn't want to start over. That's not the question. The question is, you know, where do you want to be?
Mhm.
Because we can't stay where we're at.
And yep, yeah, and again, like we're gonna Daniel and I, when we talk, like we jump all over because we get different divine downloads and insights. But like, yeah, like this axis of astrology with Libra and Aries is being recalibrated right now. Libra people cannot be afraid of conflict. They can
Mm,
no longer sacrifice themselves for people. They
no,
can no longer um, let go of their own personal identity to maintain some kind of lame version of balance
mm,
or diplomacy with someone or a situation. All the universe is calling for all of that toxic dysfunctional energy to stop. Aries people, they can no longer railroad their relationships.
no,
They can no longer abuse their relationships. They can no longer be selfish and self-centered. They must learn how to care for the other and be more balanced with the other. Finding that middle point. So there's a lot of wisdom that both Aries and Libra people have to integrate at this period of time, and then also the whole rest of the collective. Wherever this energy is in your chart, this is where you're being called to do some
right,
recalibration, and this is going to last for as long as the nodes are in this area of the
yes,
zodiac, and they're not going to be here forever.
nope,
And the other interesting thing that we learned from other more advanced astrologers that are really really cool is that we had the same thing, a solar eclipse on April the 8th at 19 degrees Aries in 2005.
yeah,
The exact same stuff
yep,
as right now. So whatever started in your life back in 2005, it puts you onto this like 20-year journey to
yep,
now. So we all have to think about what we did, what we started, why we did it, what was in our minds like when we made those decisions. Was it the right thing? When it comes, there's going to be something about people and relationships and actions that you took, Aries, like actions that you took in that period of time that may have shifted your reality or your
yeah,
timeline. And now we're being asked to really look at that. Like, am I on the right path? Did I do the right thing, or do I need to take a different direction now?
right. And the funny thing was, it was April 8th. Was it April 8th, 2005? It was April 8th,
Yep, yep,
2005. Um,
yep. April 8th,
yeah,
2005. And like I'm
wow.
telling people, like between 2004 and 2006, there was a massive shift of energy there. Like we can dig into that in a whole other podcast later on, but a lot of us made some very important decisions in our lives around that time.
Yeah, we did.
I left home when I was 18 because I was tired of the abuse and the dysfunction. That was my journey of this North Node in Aries at 19 degrees, because my natal North Node's at 20 degrees. Right. I was really feeling that activation point where, okay, the father and the people in the house were like the Libra people, the relationship dynamics that were not balanced, and things were not kosher. And so my I am Aries identity was like, I don't like this. This is not balanced. I can't do this shit anymore. I'm getting the hell out. So I left. And there's a lot of people like me that did that in that period of time because we were tired of the dysfunction. And so in that period of time, a lot of crazy stuff went down. So we need to reflect on that and see where we're at now and how it's working for us.
Yeah, that was.
And maybe for others, everything was great and everything was hunky dory and they're on the right path. For others of us, we went through some crazy stuff.
Yeah, that was
these last 20 years.
That was the end of my Saturn return. That was trailing off. That was at the end, coming to the end there, with Saturn at 20 degrees Cancer there on that eclipse there, and it was again 19 degrees, and that's in my fourth house. It's in my home, my family, my being at home, taking action with things. With my, I was having. Let's see. Let me pop this chart up and keep yammering here about this a little bit. Got, like we said, with the Mars was, or excuse me, the sun was at 19 degrees. That eclipse point was, there at, around that new moon time there, because that's what happens there. And with Mars in Aquarius, that was about our friendships. That was about our collective energies. That was about taking action, like creating collective action. And with Mars on Neptune there, now it's interesting to me that at 19 degrees, last time Mars was on Neptune, and now Mars is on Saturn in Pisces. And, that was a Saturn-ruled sign, and Saturn was in the opposite energy of Cancer. So it was still about grounding. It was still about foundation in Cancer, in a cardinal sign, in a water sign. So there's, water energy, air energy, fire energy, and, with the North Node in Aries there. So it was like, this is a new direction. We have to take this action. We need to, and I think a lot of us were more globally conscious at the time. I was doing electronics when I was in the military then, and that was what I was trying to do. I was becoming more emotionally detached so that I could handle the action that needed to be taken in my life, for my family, for my career, for myself, as a man, as a father, as a husband, who I was at the time. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to be, as a Cancer male. It wasn't easy to detach myself from that emotional energy, but it's necessary sometimes to be fair, to be balanced, to be that opposite Libra energy, which is where Jupiter was in the South Node. So being fair while you're taking the action is difficult. It is, but it will, anytime you see the guidance of the beautiful dance in the sky, there can be a beautiful dance down here too. You just have to know which steps to take. And all of us are, more often than not, just kind of stumbling around. And if you get your feet stepped on, somebody probably wasn't doing it on purpose, And that's what I've had to learn. It's like, it's also, it's not personal, more often than not. It's, if somebody's mad at you, they're probably mad at somebody else. Probably ain't about you.
Yeah. Usually isn't. It's usually someone else's dysfunction that's getting projected out, and that's why a lot of people will say don't internalize other people's bullshit, because it's never about you. It's always about them. And I like what you said, like that, like finding the balance, taking balanced action isn't always easy. And that this is something I think Aries, people with heavy Aries energy or big influence of Aries energy in their chart need to learn that you got to be patient, because Aries energy can be very impatient when they're not getting what they want, or they're not, they can get really brash and aggressive. And I think for divine masculines and people who are sorting out their own inner divine masculine need to learn that we we need to have higher levels of tolerance, and we need to have more patience in our dealings with people, and don't make it about yourself. Think about the other. And this is the thing that Aries people are balancing out at this time. So we're gonna need that in the time going forward, because if we're gonna rebuild civilization and we're going to build community with people, we're gonna have to be able to have those skills. If we don't have the skills to have higher levels of tolerance and consideration and patience, that's the key word, patience, we're gonna kill each other. We're gonna harm each other, and we've had enough of that the last 10,000 years. We need to end those cycles now. So we can't be impatient. We need to be grounded in ourselves, balanced in ourselves, and hear the others out. Hear the other people out. Hear their perspectives. Don't make it about yourself all the time. So I think that wisdom's coming through right now, dealing with the Aries Libra energy.
And also for those in North America, those in the United States, in the path of this last, this eclipse, the moon passes, the moon passes between the Earth and the Sun on these kinds of solar eclipses, but it wasn't total, and if you were outside of that, so there was an allowing of who you are to shine around your emotions, to shine around your intuition, and to illuminate it, to light it up. This afternoon where I was, I think we were at like a 78% reduction. It was like it wasn't a complete where I am. Everything got very orange. So it casted a very strange light on things, and it felt weird. It looked odd. The grass was very green. All the houses in the neighborhood weren't exactly white. The cars were different color, and the bushes were different color, and everything was a little bit different. And that's what is necessary. Sometimes take a step back, and I was sitting on the front porch. Normally I don't do that. Sitting on the front porch and just let that weird light be around me and let it happen. And then when it was time, then go back in and do something. But for the moment, just sit and soak it up.
Yeah. There's so much wisdom coming through right now, with what the universe wants to teach us, and it's all leading up to something very big. And when I was looking at these energies and really feeling the cogs of destiny turning, and feeling how the universe is speaking to us right now with this current story, this hero's journey that we're all on together and as individuals, is we're out of alignment. We've been out of alignment for a long time with our relationship to nature, with our relationship to each other, in our families, our marriages, like the romantic relationships. Like, we're not in alignment. And because, and then, I mean, that's for a reason. Like, we had corrupted value systems that kind of sort of slowly rip us apart and separate us from everything that's divine in this third density reality. So this consciousness of division and hyper individualism has been created so that we do not join forces, so that we don't come together as people and work together. And now that Pluto has exited Capricorn and is in Aquarius, there's a lot of things we can talk about with that, and I'm gonna dig into that for a second because I feel like it. So, when Pluto was in Capricorn, we saw him start to bring destruction to our old institutional systems. So government, medical systems, all these different things, political systems, even systems that regulate money, financial systems, all these things started to like undergo some kind of transformation because that's what Pluto does. I think obviously because our media, the mainstream media, is controlled by BlackRock and all these other assholes, we don't know the brunt of damage that has come through in the last little while. I think things got damaged a lot more than what they're showing us. And I think we're going to see more of that with Pluto and Aquarius, like how screwed up things actually got.
He's the revealer.
He's the revealer. They've been hiding that. So they don't want us to know how fragile and how messed up things actually are, because that's going to make us start questioning the system. And then we know where that's going to go. It's going to quickly lead to some kind of revolutionary energy, which is what the universe is trying to break through right now. And they can't stop it. The funny thing is with these psychopaths, I tell people, even in watching astrology, watching the transits, they can't control the planets. They can't control the energies coming through. Nope. They can't control any of this shit. They can do a little bit here and there, but we actually have more of the power and control. And we're going to remember that with the freaking Pluto in Aquarius transit. But anyway, so Aquarius is like groups. It's collective groups. It's technology. It's innovation. Obviously in the higher positive expression of this energy. It's celebrating individuality. It's about humanity, and as you always say, Daniel, that like Aquarius is the sign that rules humanity. Yes. So it's like appreciating all different kinds of expressions of humanity. So no matter what sexual orientation you are, no matter what race you are, language you speak, whatever, it's about protecting, respecting, and celebrating the massive spectrum of what makes up humanity.
Yep.
And that's why we've been seeing an uptick in trans stuff. I mean, I do believe there is an agenda with some of that. Sorry to say that, because I know some people are not going to want to talk about that, but there is an agenda to screw up the sacred divine masculine, but we'll get into that later. So the last little while, there's been a lot of groups, because Aquarius rules groups. When Pluto went to Aquarius, we're seeing groups fighting for different things, because Pluto is kind of having a conversation with Uranus and Taurus, because Uranus rules Aquarius. Pluto is in his house. Yep. Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus.
Back to values.
Venus is about values. Back to values again. Yep. So we talked about values with relationships, and now we're talking about relationships within groups.
Yep.
So many groups within our collective are having a conversation about how their group feels like their values are not being honored. So we're talking about farmers are protesting. The farmers have been protesting in France for a long time. Now that has spread to Quebec, Canada, and other places in the UK, or in the EU, in Europe. People fighting for trans rights. People fighting for soils, food, the ground. Because again, Taurus is food. It's the soil. All these things. It's goods. So people have been fighting for like permaculture stuff, fixing the soils, like Sadhguru's movement, the Save Soil movement. Yeah. I love the work that they're doing. So there's groups fighting for those kind of things. So when we look at the farmers and these people, they're channeling that Pluto, Aquarius, Uranus, Taurus energy like to the T, like perfectly, in perfect divine cosmic alignment. And I think that our collective has obviously been distracted from that for a reason, because they don't want us joining forces. Because if we did that and we had our values in alignment, there'd be a revolution overnight. So
things would be a lot more balanced for everybody. In a very Aquarian way, in the age of Aquarius that we are probably already in, if not entering into.
We're getting close. Yeah. We're getting close. I don't think we're quite there yet, because we're looking at those cycles of Atlantis and us. They went down during the end of the age of Virgo. We're now getting to the end of the age of Pisces. So I think we're not quite there yet. I think if we were, reality would be starkly different right now. I think we're nearing the end. And I always tell people when it comes to talking about ages that just like in astrology, we have orbs of degrees. It hasn't gone, it's not exact yet. We're in orb to entering into the age of Aquarius. And that's why we're seeing a lot of these themes already start to pop up in the collective. So, but yeah, we're gonna. It's all about groups and the whole Aries Libra stuff going on right now is we can't play nice together in our romantic relationships or in bigger groups if we're out of alignment and we don't know our values and we have shitty boundaries and we don't know ourselves and we don't have strong sense of personal identity. You know, all these things. We can't achieve any of the greater things that the universe is trying to help us achieve if we don't have that basic foundation in order. And the bigger part of the conversation right now and getting ourselves in order is the Mars and Saturn and Pisces. It's learning how to take divine direction.
Yes.
It's learning how to have that divine connection to God, to the universe, as a group and as individuals. Because if we don't have that, we're going to be easily led astray, which is what they've been doing to us for freaking God knows how long, how many thousands of years. Because and this is the interesting thing with religion, because before today, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, whatever the hell, Buddhism, you know, we were in a consciousness where we were needing an intermediary to connect with God and to connect with the universe. And that's coming to an end. Mars and Saturn conjunct in Pisces, this is coming to an end. Like I feel like everybody is being asked and encouraged to find their own connection, to create their own connection, to dive into these energies.
Listen to the message that you're being sent, your own personal little divine message.
Exactly. And it's such a crazy thing to talk about this right now, because in order to listen to God, in order to listen to the divine messages that are going to come through with Saturn and Mars and Pisces, you have to have a strong sense of self.
Yeah.
You have to know who the hell you
have
are.
to know
if you don't know who the hell you are, then when the shit comes through, you're going to be like, I don't know. I don't feel confident with that. I don't know. Like, you know, it's not going to work.
If you don't know, if you don't know your own little spiritual address, the letter's not going to get delivered to the right spot. You're not going to be there. If you're always moving around and you're not, you know, if you're living in 4 different houses in the neighborhood, you know, it might take you a long time to put that letter together. It might, you know, if you don't ever check the mailbox.
Yeah, so it's like all the aspects in astrology right now are all it's all painting a big picture, and every component is just as equally as important. Like it's all coming together to make this grand tapestry or whatever that the universe is showing us, and it's building towards something very significant and very big over the next couple of years. And in order for the universe to get us to that timeline destiny point, we have to know who we are. We have to be able to stand strong in our values with Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus, which rules this area of values. And we have to know ourselves. We have to know, you know, what we stand for. And I think with Pluto and Aquarius, feedback looping to Uranus and Taurus, and then Pluto being in the area of groups, it's us learning how eventually, when Saturn and Neptune go into Aries, it's us learning how to fight for our values through divine direction.
Yeah. Creating new direction for new groups to be created.
Yes.
Because we are all more connected than we think. There's more connecting us than all of us even know. And I've been saying this for a while, and from time to time it pops up. You're going to find yourself agreeing with people that you never suspected, because you do actually have the same value system.
It's so amazing how you said that.
You do have the same values.
It's so amazing how you said that.
You might be telling yourself a different story about it, but you're based in the same value systems, and some of those core value systems are necessary to just be a human. And we have forgotten those things. We have gotten separated, um, with Uranus and Taurus, and with a lot of these other things. And Pluto and Aquarius is being not being afraid to get close enough to see if this is that my vibe? Is that cool? That's Aquarius. Is this cool? Are we chill here? Is this all right? Am I close enough to make it count? And nothing in the physical universe ever touches, ever. Nothing. Like I am. This mouse is not. I am not in direct physical contact with it. I'm close enough to make it matter. Haha, matter. I'm close enough to make it count. But there's space, but it's close enough to make it matter. And that's what Pluto and Aquarius is all about. Uranus and Taurus, close enough to make it happen. Taurus is the physical. It can be physical, but it's values, and is it close enough to matter? Is it close enough to make it okay? Is it close enough to move forward with?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So we're all like, I mean, like, again, like when you and I discuss these things, and I discuss these things with other highly conscious people, reality is gonna look weird to those of us that are on this path of awakening, because there's a lot of souls on this planet that are very young. It could be their first time here, incarnating on planet Earth. And I don't think all the soul groups on this planet at this time have the destiny to go through ascension. I think the whole concept of NPCs is a legit thing. I think there's just background characters in the game.
Yeah.
So we got to be careful about how we look at reality right now, especially with Saturn and Mars being together in Pisces, and also Neptune still being there. We cannot judge this revolution of consciousness based on what we see going on in the outside world, because that's what they want us doing. They want us still looking at their. I was gonna say an F-bomb. I'm trying not to
No
go there. I'm
potty
trying
mouth
to be a
right
good
now.
girl. No, potty mouth K. I'm trying to be a good girl right now, so I'm not gonna do it. They're trying to do some foolishness with the media still to trap us into a low density way of looking at reality, so that we keep our frequency down at a certain point.
Right.
But there is a massive shift going on. There's a massive shift going on spiritually, and in order for us all to really, I don't know, get to where we need to get to in this with this society, we gotta listen to freaking Saturn and Pisces right now with Mars.
Yeah.
I was gonna say with Aries. It still kind of is with sitting with Aries, and we have to like connect. We have to go inside and focus more on our inner world and not be of the outer world. That's Saturn and Mars and Neptune in Pisces.
Yep.
We got to be focused on the inner world, and then when we go out into the third density world to create, we have to make sure that we're getting that Libra energy straightened out, getting that Taurus energy with the value system straightened out, and Pluto and Aquarius connecting with the right groups based on the values that we share. Because we're gonna need to build stuff going forward, like together, and we got to be able to play nice together.
That's funny. You're talking about Libra and relationships and building and playing nice. I've been trying to have a certain gaming experience recently, and it's been difficult for the last several years to do this. And I decided that I was going to have my own little solo gaming experience on my own little computer and just me. And then I realized, wait a minute, if I build it for me, I can invite a few people that I know into that gaming experience, and I know that they would play with me. And so I started doing some research and doing some background checks and looking at software and security settings, and did I have enough room on this computer? Are my network settings good to go? Do I have enough RAM for it? And a lot of the answers came from friends, and things have broken through in ways that I didn't expect because of my friends, because of people my friends knew. I don't know them directly, people I've met, but my friends know people that are willing to help me because they're bored. They're bored. So me trying to, have an experience by myself led me to, okay, let me create an experience for other people. Oh, and now I've given somebody that was bored something to do, and that's what they wanted. This person wanted something to do, and now I'm giving them something to do, purpose, and, so it all this stuff comes back together, but you have to be curious. You have to have that fun Aries energy. You have to go, what's that? Because
Yep.
that's Aries energy.
Yep.
That what's going on over
Yep.
there? Like,
Yep.
you have a value, something in Pisces. You have something inside of you. The value system comes up through the hole in Aries. You feed that in, and he goes, what's that over there? Kind of like my cat running around the room. What's that over there? Zipping around in here. That little feisty energy. That I got to do something. What am I going to do? What direction am I going to go? Set your values always, and then it will always lead you to a place bigger and more weird and fun and amazing and magical than you ever expected. Not every time,
I
but it
like
will.
I like how you said that. That's totally legit. But in relation to Aries energy, having the courage to go into something, and with confidence, with the foundation of knowing how to be balanced with
Yeah,
others.
yeah,
And
because
this is taking finessing, man,
yeah,
for the collective, like knowing how to be that strong identity, that Mars, but still know how to be gentle and diplomatic and tolerant with others.
right. Because rams, the sign of Aries is the ram, and they don't always run around and fight. They have families, they have groups, they play, and they're not always charging around. You guys see, they'll climb up on top of something and just hang out. They'll charge up a hill, stop, eat some grass, chill, lay down, soak up the sun. So Aries doesn't always have to be active. It doesn't always have to be, attacking a piece of ground or like eating something or running after something or trying to find a new family group. It always not has to do that. Sometimes a ram will eat some grass and lay down and chill and take a nap because it needs to.
I like how you said that, because the Aries energy is like, it wants to push and it wants to go so
Mm,
fast. It's very impulsive energy, and sometimes like we don't need to do that. Sometimes we don't need to push. Sometimes when we push, sometimes we get ourselves into
yep.
trouble. Aries people know that shit very well. They be getting themselves in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah.
Um.
And people
So
without a
yeah.
balanced Libra energy can get themselves in a lot of trouble too. And if you're out of balance with Libra energy, Libra rules laws, it rules justice, it rules law enforcement. You might end up somewhere where somebody takes away your law and justice and freedom, and you don't get to decide where your Aries energy goes. If you get too out of balance with it, you got to know where to go.
Yeah. How's your battery life doing on your phone? My iPhone's starting to die.
Um,
I gotta
I had
I'm
mine
gonna plug
plugged
it
in
in
the whole
charge.
time because I knew we were going to run it down.
Yeah, because you're lucky you got an Android phone, and I got Apple, and they said to be assholes and take away the freaking make the headphone jack also where you charge. So yeah, I'm gonna plug it out with the screen, so
All right,
my audio might sound a little
all
bit
right.
different now.
We've been running for about an hour anyway, a little over an hour. So you wanna?
Yeah. So there's a lot of wisdom to integrate with what's going on with the planets and what they're trying to teach us. Like there's a lot. The planets are great teachers, great activators. Every single one of them equally important. And I'm gonna check my notes to see. Okay, so one thing I want to make sure to cover as well, with these energies, is the journey of the sacred divine masculine and the journey of the sacred divine feminine. And Venus was in a conjunction with Neptune these last days. And for me, that was a very important point. And the energy that I felt and the message that I felt the universe was channeling to me was that when Venus went through this whole cycle since last year and came back around to Pisces after her retrograde, after Mercury retrograde, after the eclipse, after her squares with Uranus and Taurus, after her hitting Pluto, and then after her squaring Jupiter and Uranus from the other side, from Aquarius, and not just from Leo. She's gone through so many conversations about what she finds beautiful, what she finds balanced and fair in relationships, what her boundaries are, what her values are, all these things. So I think when she came around back to to Neptune and Pisces, I feel like this was like her purification point.
Yeah.
Now she's purified. Now she's reset, and now she's in Aries, and now I feel like as this feminine energy has moved into Aries, now she is able to be her divine feminine I am presence, strong feminine identity presence.
Yes.
And hopefully, for those of us who have done the inner work, is learning how to be guided by divine energy intuitively after she made that conjunction with Neptune.
Yep.
So that's like her journey. It's a very important thing because both divine masculine and divine feminine on some level need to have that connection to the divine, so they take divine action. So their actions are in alignment and attunement with their higher selves and with the universe and with God, creator, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah.
So I think she's been on a journey doing that, and because Venus moves faster than Mars, she's closer to the sun. Mars is kind of like, he's trailing behind, and now he's, like you said, he's sitting with Saturn, and he's sitting with the top dog, sitting with the general, sitting with the grandfather, and they're having a conversation. And that, I feel like the conversation for the divine masculine and for the men who have incarnated in this period of time to embody that divine masculine energy, Saturn is like, all right, we need to get you back in alignment with taking divine action and what that means, what that feels like. And then when I see the vision in my mind, it's the samurai sitting in the temple. It's the samurai sitting in the temple. He's meditating, he's cleansing, he's purifying himself, he's going into those amazing Japanese hot baths. He's chilling himself out, he's detaching from reality, he's relaxing, slowing down, not being too concerned with being go, like that Aries energy, and reconnecting with his purpose, reconnecting with his own direction again, and figuring out what the hell that is. Because I think a lot of men have been confused with that too.
Oh yeah.
Over the last years with not knowing what the hell their direction is, and that's why I think also a lot of masculines have been led astray in this world because they didn't know what the hell their real direction was. Like,
I didn't.
Making money and trying to survive or bang chicks isn't your divine direction. That's not the real game here. There's more going on here. So I think a lot of men, whoever is incarnated on this planet as a divine masculine, and they had the universe tap on their shoulder, and they've gone through some kind of a spiritual awakening, I think in this period of time, the universe is like, have you been happy with the directions you've been taking the last 20 years?
Right.
Are you happy with where you're at? Are you happy with what you've created? And I think the big answer to that question, or the answer to that question is no.
Yep.
You're on being an Aries right now with all these eclipse energy. The answer to that question is no.
I mean, a lot of the feminines out there are not happy with the masculines. So whether they want them to be something else or think something else or say something else or do something else, it's the feminine is asking the masculine to be new. The question is being asked, and it doesn't matter where you sit on that polarity. Everybody has a piece of that in them, like I said before, and you do. So, and the feminine is taking the lead. She's taking pages out of that book, but she's taking the lead right now. She's in Aries. She will stay ahead. She will clear that Aries energy, clear that, and move into Taurus, and then be at home in her sign, and be out of that Aries Saturn realm. You know, then she will be where, she will be in her world. So, when Venus moves into Taurus, this is April.
End of April. It's
See,
like
where are we at? Okay.
April 28th. I don't know. It's the end of April at some point.
Let's back that up. Where is it? It's Taurus. Okay. Yeah, the end of April. So, the 29th. So, you know, anybody that getting your value system leveled out, figuring out what direction you want to go. You can play. We're planning for a trip. We are planning for a direction. We're figuring out what to put in our suitcase. We already know. Hopefully, you know where you're going, but you might not. Like, where are we going to go? I don't know. We'll just drive around for a while, see what happens. And which is that's not always a bad plan. But by the time the end of April comes, the end of this month, you're gonna have something. You're gonna want something more solid. You're gonna be willing to take action for it.
How you just said that. I like how you just said that because it made me think about that old piece of wisdom, that old adage that says sometimes you need to get lost to get found.
Yes.
And I think like Saturn and Mars and Pisces is that energy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to get lost to get found.
Wow.
Yeah.
All those
I know,
who wander
right?
are lost. Yes.
Yeah, that just channeled to me right now. I think that is a really key message for Saturn and Pisces right now. Sometimes you need to get lost to get found. So it's like all of us diving into these Neptunian Pisces like waters, and it's like elusive, it's mysterious, it's foggy. We don't know where we're going.
Right.
We don't know what we're supposed to be doing, and all we can do is sit still and allow ourselves to like solely feel that pull of our heart chakra, crown chakra, third eye, whatever it is, and be guided by that to get through.
Yep.
And because I said that, I touched on this in the last live stream I did in October about Pisces energy, Neptune. This is big. People really need to like understand this too. Neptune and Pisces. Neptune entered into Pisces 2010, 2011.
Okay.
So for people, again, I told them last time, if you look back to 2010, 2011, and maybe even a year or two before that, massive transformation again was happening in the collective. We were going through like another spiritual renaissance, and like a really big awakening in that period. Before that, I think there was a big awakening back in the 80s, but you and I can cover that in another live stream. We'll investigate that. But so all around the world, when Neptune entered into Pisces 2010, 2011, everybody was talking about ETs and channeling and chakras and yoga and meditation, crystals, like all this crazy shit. Like it just popped off like crazy in that period of time. And this was all, again, obviously by divine design, because they needed and again also Pisces in the lower polarity is dissolving.
Yes.
Dissolving our old connection to reality and making it see through the fog that we were all in before. So it was seeing that we were going through reality with blinders on, and we weren't really seeing what was there. And that's because they control, because Neptune and Pisces rule the area of media and news. We were all going through reality freaking using their false freaking propaganda to understand reality. And that put us all in a bad path, in a bad boat. And so after Neptune came into this area, slowly, a lot of us who had a soul contract to be in this incarnation to be light workers or healers, whatever the hell, to create this revolution on the planet, we all started to wake up and we're like, holy shit, hold on. I remember I got something else to do here. Yeah. And holy shit, reality's freaking garbage. What the hell is this bullshit? But we were like, hold on a minute. What the banking system's not real, money's not real, freaking this is not real, this politics is not real. What the hell is going on here? And a lot of us went through like a dark night of the soul when Neptune went into Pisces, because we're like, what the like, what in the hell is this bullshit? Yeah. And it was necessary. We had to understand that there's more to this reality than what they've been letting on, and that all these authoritative bodies and people that are ruled by Capricorn were keeping us into this shallow stream or like a area of consciousness, this low density consciousness in a box, and they weren't wanting us to come out, because when we come out, we see the freaking wizard behind the freaking curtain. Oh yeah. We see the bullshit, and they didn't want us to see the bullshit. But regardless of what they wanted, it didn't matter, because a lot of souls in that period were like, holy crap, our food is garbage, our water is garbage, our media is garbage, politics, the government, everything's garbage. What the hell is this shit? I was coming out of it too. I mean, I was at the end of a military career, and I was coming out of that too. And I was shown a lot of really wild stuff in a short period of time, and it really yanked me around. That was a very exciting period of time. And then there was a phenomenon in that period in 2011, or maybe end of 2010 going to 2011, when a lot of people on the planet were seeing 1111, and they were seeing all these different numbers, like all that shit really popped off in that period of time. And it's really interesting that the universe, or whatever divine entities that are overseeing our planet, were facilitating that. So then we're all going back into numerology and seeing the sacred divine connection to numbers. So all that was going on. So there's been a long conversation that has been going on. And this to me is very significant. This is so, I don't know if a lot of astrologers are talking about this. I haven't heard it yet, but Venus, like I said, moved over Neptune. She's purified. She's spiritually realigned in her divine essence, in her I am presence now, being in Aries. And Neptune is in the last degrees of Pisces. I'm not sure if Venus, when she's gonna conjunct Neptune again. Can you look at that in the chart? She's done, man. Like, she moves forward. Is Venus gonna hit Neptune again in Pisces? Oh, in Pisces? No, because he moves into Aries with Saturn in several years here. Let me go forward in the chart. Yeah, that's what I was doing too. Well, yeah, I feel like this is a very significant period, because after that, Venus is not going to conjunct Neptune in Pisces for a long time. No, it's gonna be a long time. I don't know how long, but for a long freaking time, Venus is not going to make that conjunction with Neptune in Pisces. So this is a big moment for the collective, for both Mars and Venus, because after that, all the conjunctions are going to be in Aries, not in Pisces. So we're being built up. From when Neptune entered into Pisces, we were spiritually evolving, spiritually expanding our consciousness. We were learning about different spiritual principles, and now we're about to graduate, to the next level, which is becoming the spiritual warrior. In January of 2025, Venus is closing on Saturn in Pisces, and then about 2 weeks later, she's conjunct Neptune at the end of 27 degrees of Pisces. So 2025 is going to be the last year she makes the conjunction. Yeah, with the North Node and with conjunct the North Node. Yeah. So that's going to be powerful, I suspect, spiritual forces. Activation. Yeah, powerful spiritual activations. So very powerful. She's being prepared now for those energies, because I think Once we hit that point in 2025, man, I can't even fathom what the hell our reality is going to look like by then.
Yeah,
Like after the election in the United States and all these things that are going on, I can't even fathom what
there
that's going
are.
to look like.
I heard a statement about global politics. 60% of the entire globe is having over half of their elected officials up for election or re-election this year.
That's
60% of the planet is having, like, resetting political elections at some point this year and probably later on. Probably, start in the middle of the year, July, August, September, October, starting then. And so there's a lot of shifting going on. I know that there's a lot of millennial folks out there that want to make radical, radical, possibly destructive changes in structures. You know, the the Gen Z folks, like, I know a lot of them don't believe that change can happen. The Gen Alphas, they're seeing it and they're thinking, we're gonna have to balance this out. We're gonna have to be the anchor here. So there's a lot of people thinking a lot of, thinking back and going, we're going back to go forward right now. So things are swinging in different directions right now. And there's going to be a lot of, I think there's going to be a lot of change. And change is not, it's not bad, but sometimes it's not easy. Get a new job, or you get a new car, or you get a new pair of shoes, and you got to break them in. You got to break those shoes in. You got to wear them so that they're comfortable. You have to get used to it. Is my car supposed to make that noise? Is this house supposed to make that noise? Is my mate supposed to make that noise? It's like whatever's going on. It's like, is this the way this is supposed to be? I've never had a dog before. Do dogs do that? It, it's there's a lot of new things coming. There's a lot of new change coming, and we have the choice. We have a choice.
And I feel the conversations between the planets, like the message is very loud and clear, man.
Yeah.
We need to be in divine alignment with the universe, with the cosmic energies, so that in the periods of time that are coming, in the next years or two, we can take the right kinds of divine action.
Yeah.
And like you said, she's going to make that conjunction with Neptune and the North Node in Pisces in 2025. So that's going to be like, be the divine warrior, be the spiritual warrior. Yeah. This is what we're all going to be led into, and we're being prepared right now. Yeah. That's Saturn conjunct Mars. That's Venus on Neptune. That's Mars on Neptune. We're being prepared for that. The ground is being prepared because we're in a spiritual war. We're in a freaking spiritual war. This is not some like regular bullshit right now. Like this is our souls have been preparing for this period of time our entire lives. Like this is serious shit. This is not like some like little small little thing. Like no, this is big.
Yeah.
This is really big.
I'm almost 50, and I know that I've been prepared. My mindset has been being shifted and being prepared for things to move forward, because my world, the world that I want to create, the people that I have around me, they need something more from me. It's not that they don't need me. It's not that my value systems weren't good. It's not that I wasn't trying to create something good and solid and fair, and so that people can be in as much happiness as they could possibly create for themselves. But now there's more that's required. Those that have are required. If you have something, you're required to maintain it. I have a car. I maintain the car. That's my responsibility. I have a cat. I have to take care. I have to feed her. I have to keep her litter box clear. Otherwise, she, makes a mess in my room. I have to play I have to play fetch with her, or else she gets spicy. You know, so like there are things that are required, and um, you do have to ask is if the juice is worth the squeeze, and more often than not, it is. But you have to squeeze. You have to, because if you want to be down here playing the heathen game, you know, there are actions required. You got to roll the dice. You roll the six, you go six spaces. Sometimes you only, so you roll doubles three times in a row in Monopoly. You know what happens. So it's like, um, but it's still the game, and learning to be okay with the actions of the game, learning to be okay with the strategy that may or may not have worked for you in the past. That's okay. I'm learning that too. It's not easy. You know, um, I'm a mild mannered person until I'm not winning a game, and then my inner child comes out, and usually it's not fun, and I'm learning to get over that, because that's not having fun when everybody
Because
else is
your
having fun
generation
isn't
has
fun.
that Chiron and Aries, so a lot of you are having your Chiron
Oh
return,
yeah,
and that's been some heavy stuff too.
that's
Like there's a
good.
lot of groups right now that are getting hit with these eclipse energies. People that have Libra energy, people that have Aries energy, people that have Cancer and Capricorn, they're getting the square.
Yep.
So like it's like there's going to be tension in a lot of people in the next days, weeks, months.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so like I mean for you like the Chiron square your Cancer energy, it's like dealing with like this emotional energy, and then the Mars more aggressive self-assertive energy, and finding a balance with it,
Yep.
because otherwise, I told you many times, like freaking Aries energy square Cancer energy, it's the ultimate baby
Oh, it
bitch. It's
is.
baby
It
bitch
is.
vibes. Like,
And I have thrown some
anyone that I
fits.
know that has like freaking Aries square Cancer energy, and they don't got that shit balanced out, it's the ultimate baby bitch
Oh
vibes.
yeah.
You do not want to be around those folks when they're
Uh,
imbalanced. It's not fun.
nope. But it can really stabilize things when it's done correctly. I mean,
Yes.
Cancer is the home. It is the nurturer, and when the nurturer begins new, starts new energy, takes action to stabilize something, then that's its natural. That's where it starts. It creates stability. It actually creates something else, but it starts the stability. It starts the process. So, in order to start this process, you have to be at home with your emotions.
Hmm?
You have to
Yeah,
allow
I feel
yourself to
like I
feel.
feel like another message that's coming through to me right now about Aries energy. The vision they're showing me is being in this childlike state where you're allowing yourself to live in the magic of the moment. And
Mm,
there's some kind of a message coming through about the law of attraction, law of correspondence, whatever you want to call it. And it's taking the right divine action, the actions that feel in alignment for you,
hmm
while being in the magic of the moment and trusting the universe to help you have everything
Okay.
unfold. So it's like taking the divine action that's in the right alignment with your soul, and then trusting in the other forces of the universe to help bring
Mm,
things into fruition, like into third density reality, into creation. Um, I think the sacred divine masculine and feminine were also remembering how to tap into that co-creative god goddess power with Saturn and Mars in Pisces, and Neptune still being in Pisces. Like we're learning how to trust
right.
in that intuitive connection, and in that creative power.
Right.
And I think that's also that it's like a really big thing.
Right.
it's a really big thing. We can't create nothing new in this society, in this civilization, without doing that.
Right.
And when you talk about like the squares between Aries and Cancer, and then we're looking at Aries and Capricorn, sometimes we need tension, you know, to burst through our comfort zones, or to get over our blockages. Sometimes
Right.
we need those
Right.
tension points and challenges, and we don't grow in our comfort zone.
Nope.
So I think right now, for reality, a lot of people are gonna start feeling uncomfortable. Things are gonna start to feel really weird, and if they haven't started doing their shadow work, their healing work, it's gonna get more intense.
Yeah.
And more heavy.
Right.
As the times go forward.
Right.
They're gonna be like, what in the hell's going on? It's gonna be like them having like 5 midlife crisis in fucking like 1 year. Sorry,
Right.
I dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be like having a whole bunch of midlife crises in like 1 year. They're not gonna go. They're not gonna know up from down, left from right. They're gonna be like, what the hell's going on? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know where I'm at. You know, it's gonna be really intense, and hopefully those people find people within their community like us that can help give them a little bit extra guidance, because even for us, being people of higher consciousness and self-awareness, we're doing constant work on the daily.
Right.
We're talking to each other, we're talking to other friends, we're sharing, because we got it hard too. We go through our own shit too. You know, it's not all rainbows and unicorns every freaking day. Like, it gets hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Kay, I really appreciate you coming on here with me tonight and going over the eclipse energies and some of the other stuff that you and I have been talking about for a long time, the divine masculine, feminine, and how to balance those things out, and long cycles that we've been in, and you, as always, you have brought in a lot of very, very cool stuff. Neville Goddard is the guy that we couldn't think of earlier. And it was another actually he was a Christian, and he was thinking very spiritually minded, and very, very cool, very powerful, very tapped in man, and helped a lot of folks understand themselves and understand the nature of the spiritual universe that we live in. So um, again, um, anybody that popped through, I appreciate you coming through. And Kay, again, thank you for giving me your time and offering time to other folks and sharing your wisdom and insight with us here on North Node Astrology on Facebook and anywhere else anybody sees this. And there will be many more of these. There will be many more of these. So, um, any last message?
Sorry, I've been trying to get my headset to reactivate the audio, and it won't, because it's Mercury retrograde, and sometimes technology doesn't like to cooperate. Yeah. Thank you, Apple, for moving the headphone jack. Yeah, Daniel and I, we're going to be doing a lot more live streams in the times ahead, and we want to have fun with it, and we want to share the things that come through, because when him and I talk, a lot of very intense, awesome, magical things seem to come through, and we feel we have a shared destiny with each other to bring you guys this wisdom, to share it, to be a catalyst for your healing and your evolution and your growth on your path. And like I said in the beginning, if we get to one person at least and it helps them, then great. We've done our job. I think again, like what I said in the beginning with astrology, the comforting thing about it is knowing that we're in good hands. There is a divine plan that's playing out. And things might look ugly in the matrix world for a little bit, but it's like what I said earlier, with that Saturn and Mars being in Pisces, we got to go look into our inner world, look inside, and see the magic that we all have inside. And again, mixing that with the Aries energy, seeing the magic and the power that we have inside, and reconnecting with that. Because after these cycles, if we've done that work and we've connected to that inner magic and power inside, then we can forge forward as being the spiritual warriors the universe has been, you know, helping us to become.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be able to create some crazy, exciting, magical, beautiful, amazing, awesome stuff.
Yeah.
But not before doing that work, not before really tapping into that inner inside divine power and trusting in it and feeling confident about it. Because that's what we need, because it's power in numbers. We are the collective. We are in the billions. They are maybe in the thousands. I don't know. We got the number. So, like, again, with Pluto Aquarius, once we all go and do that inside work with this Pisces energy, the cycle, and we come back home to our divine selves and that divine power, then when we come together as a collective, that power is going to go. And then we're going to be like, okay,
Yeah.
now you want to play, bitch? Like, you guys want to play? Let's go. You know, and we're gonna have that confidence to be like, we're gonna fight back. And again, in the spiritual community, some people are, oh, we can't do violence, and we can't blah blah blah. This again, dealing with Aries Libra axis of astrology. Sometimes violence is necessary. Sometimes it's not. We need to know when to draw the line. And at least at the bare minimum, the collective should be getting to a point where they don't give a damn what's got to happen, but they're ready to do what's necessary.
Yeah.
They're not asking for violence. They're not asking for killing anyone or shooting anyone, doing any crazy stuff, but they're willing to do what's necessary to fight for their values. You know, Uranus, Taurus, Jupiter, all that stuff going on, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yep.
They're going to draw that freaking line.
Yep.
And that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm excited for the collective, is to get to that point.
Yep.
Because then that's when the real fun is going to begin.
Yeah.
And we can really start building some cool shit.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, with that fun, cool stuff, this is, I'm Dan. This is North Node Astrology. This is my friend of coming up on 2 years here, Kay, and wherever you guys are, we hope that we met you where you're at, and in the future, may the Pisces connection connect to you.
That's a shameless plug. Our new podcast is going to be called The Pisces Connection. There's a whole backstory that's cool behind that. And we hope to bring this magic to you guys on a weekly basis and be a catalyst for your spiritual awakening and your journey back into your I am divine presence and your inner power.
So, thanks, guys, and we will see you in the future.
Yeah. Thank you. See you guys later.
All right.